I wasn't planning on opening any of the Uprising, right? Because the dragons are, done for. And I don't think the expansion slot was a nod that Draconic is coming back sooner than we think, in all honesty. I think that was an oversight, right? They didn't expect Dromite to OL. And that card was already planned. At least that's my personal opinion. It being a lore card also doesn't work. It doesn't have any of the lore text. In fact, we have not seen a single lore card since Bright Light, since the concept was introduced, nor a reprint for reference. Also, stupidly open this upside down, apparently. It is Uprising, yes? Yes. Good. Other than that, is there any... I don't even remember the top cards aside from the dragons, and I assume all the dragons are coming down as well. Uprising. I assume with Fae and Mystics coming out that the Tiger Stripe is the top card now of the set. Oh, no Flame Scale and right, Crown of Providence is in this. That will be interesting because if the last set is Arcane, I wonder how much it's gonna go down and come back in purview of the Arcanite Skullcap. The eye, meh. That's what we want. Number 1.5 basically for Australia. You know what, the Albion Constellus might be useful. It's kind of a weird effect from memory. First time it prevents arcane damage each turn. If it has less than 4 energy counters, you may put an energy counter on it. Remove 2 energy counters from it, and the next staff ability you activate costs 3 less. Yeah. God. That doesn't seem as powerful as it needs to be. Most of the screen is a box. This box, you mean? And also a good night. Is it working? I need to open up the stream. Been having horrible issues today. Phone wasn't working first. OBS wasn't working, so I'm using Streamlabs. I have a new mic, so hopefully that's working. I mean, particle. Yes. So this should be the majority of the screen. Good. Open it just in case. And then the little top bar is just how I look at cards. I suppose I could probably make that bigger. Usually it's like the right size, right? When I scroll down and I look at the pricing. Could also just put a banner there. It might look okay underneath. I don't know that's where chat is. Anyway, let's just crack facts. As much as paper is fun, the gloss coating is very, very annoying because they just do not stay still. Okay. Look at me fly. So yeah, aside from the cornet, this might have use if the next set is Arcane, or even if the set after it's Arcane. Draconic as a whole is kind of redundant at this point, right? Is there any decent generics? Flying Spirit, meh. Dust Up. Might as well still separate the foils. So it's just 2 in the middle, and then everything else is junk. Did I forget the rares? Do I even care about the rares? I don't care about the rares. We want the 1L and the M. That's basically it. Alright. Nada. Kinda nada. I wonder how they would have done if they were like the Figments in the M slot. Across the board. Foil. Nada. Oh, I went way too far. Private Reflexes. Normal Ninja. A blue 3 block. If it was 0 cost, I'd like it more. Take the tempo. When it hits, if you hit with 3 more times common change range, top card your deck, if it's an attack active card, you may play it until the end of your next turn. Same thing, if it was 0 or less damage to stat it better. Obviously to be 0 and less damage is what I mean. That'd be cool, but I'm assuming it sees play in very aggro ninja builds. Just a blanket, play this, get 1 more card. They're all basically just draw effect. Another evoke. It's an Aether Hail. Across the board, what's the highest M? That's the question. Probably still the dragons. Flypox, another one I really like. For Benji. Benji needs an adult. So much shenanigans to be had. Plays Headlong. One of the best commons, right? It's just gonna dissipate, unfortunately. Also move the mic closer. Always fair to do. People like the crinkles. Just pick up. More or less. Alright, transmogrify into a conduit frostburn. Am I meant to keep my hand here? Wait, that's where the light is. Beautiful cards, all the elemental stuff. But we hope Frostbite doesn't come back in its old iteration. I like this sort of mechanic, right? So the idea would be to freeze something, then destroy it. That's kind of cool, you know, shattering, rather than just you can't do anything for your turn. Combustion point, meh. Another ice. Cold pause at the back. That's something I need to remember. Ooh. Okay. I doubt we've got another one, but I guess I have to check. Not that many cards either. But I do have to go all the way to the back. Constant switch up is so fun. I'm glad we're at a state where we have the expansion slot and just consistency where everything is placed. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything else. The Silken Form, no Dromai, no use, no care. It's the basic gist. Move things over a little bit. Better? Yeah, that's better with the lighting. Okay, so go through the whole back. Nada, time flippers, tide flippers. God, this got power creeps. Well, I mean, the Arcane Barrier is kind of nice, but destroy this target action with 2 or less. Gains go again. There's the Fleetfoot Sandals, which is 1 or less, go again. And then obviously all the Mystic stuff, just to blanket, go again. Sigil for a foil. And nothing on the back. So much filler. I'm curious if Uprising will take as long to cycle around as Tails. And what always gets me is there is a very simple thing for them to do, right? It doesn't need a whole new set. They could literally just look at the catalog of cards, look at the heroes, and tweak them slightly. And all of a sudden, Tails could be desirable again, useful again. Same with this, right? Singular hero is all they have to print. But oh well. I know, obviously, with Tails and Elemental, that's a bit of a different story, but Draconic. I'm sure they could come up with a healthy spin on Dromai. Retribution, that's gonna look nice, yeah. At the back, nada. Not getting a lot of M's, I gotta say. We've been like 3? Nope. Not an M Dragon. And nada at the back. Halfway. I guess that's kind of confusing. I always go way too far. You get a proper feel. Rewind. You get a target non-attack action card and return it to its owner hand. Then that hero gains 1 action point. I hope this is never a state we get to with counter spells and all that for every other class. Like, interplay against Wizard or among Wizards, sure. But just Wizard being, I'm going to play on your turn and I'm also going to stop you doing anything on your turn is not a state I think would ever be healthy for the game. I think that's when we enter, this is no longer, just Fab territory. By and large, both Wizard and Illusionist, are kind of outside the norm, for better or worse. So I'm very curious what they do with the Arcane set coming up. And it could also be the point where it's time to care a little bit less. Unfortunately. Nada. Look at that, adult tokens. No necessary need to have them as Majestics and hard to pull, and then both way down the Majestic pool. Dragon card. Younger am I? I am also very curious how long it will. Oh, god damn it. Well, that's not what we want to see. Worst L in the set. Pretty horrible effect in terms of fun and enjoyment for the opposite party. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully we still get another L. We wanted Tiger Strike though. It is obviously wonderful to get a cold foil legendary. We'll own up to that, but still. Okay. See, okay, so this is another sort of like, what happens? What happens if they print Frost? Do cards like this, do they go in a whole new direction, or is this just the... Because it's blanket, right? It's not Ice Wizard, it's not anything specific, it's just Ice. So, yeah. What I was trying to say before is, I'm curious if they will ever concede and either do rotation, do blocks, do something. Because the simple fact is the game is kind of unsustainable in their current trajectory. Unless new classes were added constantly, right? Every time they add to the card pools, it's building upon everything that already exists. Which means you either power creep, or you ban, you restrict, right? And I really think they do a wonderful job trying not to power creep the game. Then that kind of means you want a way to get this stuff out, so you can have a different direction. Because you could have a different direction, and then players just going to go back to the better direction. Yeah, all's in where I ain't God. Yeah. Curious about that, right? Because obviously it's Icelander, it's not like a generic equipment piece, which is kind of funny, because if you think about it, any equipment piece that is generic or, broader has more unspecific art, would be the way to phrase it. At least from my recollection. I mean, obviously, feet and hand are hard to tell who exactly it is. But yeah, in Oldham, wasn't it just an absolute nightmare for a lot of people? Frost X. I do like Frost X and the concept of Frost X. Dampen, prevent the next X Arcane. See, there was a lot of weird wizard interplay in this set as well. It makes me think that they've been working on an Arcane set for ages, and it's just required constant tweaking. Now, Fog Down. I'm curious about this card, because I really like the mechanic of this. but I don't think it sees any use whatsoever. Right, so no attack action cards lose and can't gain go again for a whole turn. It's very similar to the Warmongers in some extent, right? Because the majority of non-attack action cards need go again. The 3 cost is probably where it really gets shit on, right? Bellowing and no cold foil. Right, so first box in, we got the legendary, or a legendary. It's not quite the legendary we really want, but still a cold foil legendary nonetheless. That is good. I'd be more than happy with a rainbow foil Tiger Stripe Shuko. Any Shuko. We'll see. On the box. Need better positions. Somewhere where my hand can free. Alright. In case we're hitting everything ice apparently. Oasis Respite, foil, that is not where they go. Actually, I should probably be taking the Oasis out. Right? They're probably worth something as commons. Since they do see play. At least the foils. Maybe. What's the red sitting at? Yeah, $1. $1 for the foil. Better than nothing. And nothing at the back. Alright. God. All the illusionist equipment is always so fanciful. Cold foil or not, it's just gorgeous. Nada, rapid reflex, and no cold foil. Old snap. Here goes a pack. No cold foil. My desk is too cramped. Basically, I haven't been doing anything with the cards that we've opened every other time, and that is becoming a bit of a problem. I'm also kind of out of storage boxes for them. God, another ice card. Rise from Ashes. And even these, right? So a lot of them, again, aren't Ice Wizard, despite Icelander being the one in the set. So the problem with Bog Down and Enigma is all the Mystic auras are instant speed. But in the case of everything else, yes. Yes, it would. Would be a nice tech card. I think the 3 cost is still kind of bad. Where were the stilettos? You know, I can look up stilettos. It will just want feet, huh? They want heels and everything. It looks so... I don't know, I just like the whole, you know, when you step and it leaves a whole trail of fire or image or whatever. This were. They were silent, yeah? Silent stilettos. Yeah, just that whole concept. Oh, because she's wearing tights. That's why people were pissed off. Eh. Fan service in Fab is, I think, is done nicely. Whoever really cares about that. No gold foil. I think Bog Down could be a sleeper hit though, right? Because yeah, it does have some uses with Enigma, but if we go into an Arcane set, that's where we usually see a lot of non-attack action cards being high use. But I still think the 3 cost is where it doesn't really work. Cool. Did that just lag? How these packs ordered has the standard changed since then. I noticed that the Majestics are not near. Yes. Yes. So up until Bright Lights, we'll call it a free-for-all, right, where stuff was. So, you know, it's always kind of been token, then the cards, right? But weirdly, then you had supplemental sets like Dynasty and Everfest, so no token. So at the back and now here, for whatever reason, it's at the start. I don't understand this change at all, right? So it's 1, 2, 3 commons, equipment, then your rares and majestic, right? And then the foil, and then everything else, and then 2 tokens. It was the weirdest change. So the majority of sets before this, everything was at the back. And then the call for replacing tokens versus replacing equipment versus replacing more token in this is also another kind of confusing aspect. But thank God we're at a stable point. You just have the expansion slot. I don't think though, because there's a difference between an action and an action card. If that interaction does work, yeah, that makes it insane. I mean, Warmonger still sort of works. Because them being a weapon is the card typing, right? Whereas if you, well, do we get a weapon of any sort for me to look at this? No. Well, equipment, for instance, right? So same with weapons. It's not an action, it's not a non-attack action card, it's a weapon card with an action, right? And that could be the point of contention. Another dragon, another ice bolt, no cold foil. Yeah, Professor. That would be my understanding of the ruling too. So it does shut down the normal auras, but actually, there's quite a lot of normal auras that don't actually have go again, so it doesn't really matter, because the whole Mystic shtick is there's ways to play them at instant speed, or they're just the last thing you do to set up. But I don't think there's actually enough targets for it in Enigma. Because they don't have, your next... I think actually there was some auras have go again, but there was a few cards that were your next aura maybe played at instant. Alright, Liquefy, another not so great. Oh, good. 2 of them, just what we wanted. Actually goes there anyway. Yeah, Liquefy is a fun concept. I'm sure we'll get to the point where equipment destruction is a more prevalent thing. Yeah, so I'm looking for a Tiger Stripe Shuko for Zed. Even though it's kind of debatable whether you want that or Tearing, because Tearing feeds into Crouching Tigers, and you can also have Battle War instead of Blade Break, so you actually still block with it and use the effect. But I have a lot of boxes lying around, and as the set design and their way of thinking continues to get more and more outlined, I, in all honesty, have no care whatsoever for sealed product. I don't think it will be a super collectible thing in the longevity of Fab. Fab in itself is just a peculiar case because it's not built on anything. So MTG is obviously an outlier. MTG has just a massive fan base because it's so old. But, One Piece, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Digimon, all those games have a core fundamental basis of, this fan base and this anime and this cartoon and this manga and so forth and so on. So Fab will never have brand recognition to the same extent. So what does sets really have, right? Well, they have cards and what they relate to. Tails has taken three years to get touched upon, 2 years. It's ridiculously long. Right, it's longer than their development cycle for Heroes, even. And then draftability. Everything up until Bright Lights and that has shit draftability, so I don't think nostalgia play is going to be a big thing either. So yeah, my personal opinion is if it's not the first 3 sets, and even they're sort of questionable, I just crack it at this point. Potentially. I mean, I could be completely wrong, right? But again, I'd go back and Yu-Gi-Oh! Has an ongoing cartoon that spawns, you know, people to collect the cards. Fab has nothing. Fab has word of mouth and design. So, if you take out all the heavy reprints and whatnot and the alternative versions, from my understanding, right? So Yu-Gi-Oh! Definitely has big chase products, more so for Age. The initial sets all use the same sort of model as Fab as well, right? They had unlimited and first edition printings, no? And the first edition maintained value. But I would also, again, argue that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of nostalgia behind it, right? Here's the thing. With Welcome to Wraith and all that, you have the history products for all the newer markets. You'll have this archive product for the Japanese market. You'll have whatever new product they decide to invent for any future market. So in terms of people, A, having access or B, wanting access to Welcome to Wraith, Arcane, Crucible of War, it's just not as concrete as, you know, well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just did their 25th anniversary, which were the first few sets reprinted, and you could still, you know, get, you know, I forget the set names because I'm not that big into Yu-Gi-Oh! But you have, you know, the first set with Dark Magician, the first set with Blue Eyes White Dragon, the first set with Black Luster Soldier, right? All these really iconic cards that, again, reinforce, thanks to the anime, that people will always sort of want and have a place in their heart. You know, Tunic, probably the most recognizable card, and it's just a Tunic. I don't think it has any real impactful value other than the fact that it's just super playable in so many classes. And again, to get said Tunic, it's not, I want to open a Tunic, because that's kind of impossible. It's, I want to just go buy a Tunic. Odds cards will be worthless if they're not played. Yeah. Like the majority of this set, unfortunately. Right? Once Faye goes, it just sits on a shelf collecting dust until, again, LSS decides to do something with it. And, I mean, we just got a KO Armory deck. Could have easily been a Briar, Oldhim, or Lexi deck with a retool, with something that works a little bit better, with the lack of double elements, because that's one of the biggest things that gave a lot of power to the Tails heroes. And all of a sudden, you know, a third of the set is now activated again, and so forth and so on. Fab has horrible sustain, and a lot of that, in my honest opinion, stems from the fact that they don't want to rotate anything out. So they have to be super cautious when it comes to what they're printing. Following, not being a great box, I gotta say. No. And that's probably why they changed the Living Legend points again. If KO LL'd, that product would have absolutely no use. My favorite set is actually, yeah, same. I would agree with you. I love the thematics of Outsiders. And I love, not that it's workable yet, but I love Bloodrot, Inertia, and Frailty as a concept. So I love Outsiders too. As well as, you know, Click Knives and being able to throw stuff. That's really cool to me. It's just not as good as it could be yet. Flamescale Furnace. It's crazy as long as there's a Draconic. Bagos. The price will tank because, while yes, you want it for Emperor, it's just Blitz isn't a thing. And Blitz, oh god, you're gonna start me on a whole other spiel. Anyway, Cold Core Stilettos. So again, god, I just think the fire and everything coming off is gorgeous. So Blitz, big issue with Blitz. They halved the health, but they didn't retool anything else. So again, that's where we're at in terms of OTKs and first turn kills and everything, you know, really fast pace Blitz games. if they, for instance, did a slight little tweak, and along with HP, they reduced the cards, right? So instead of having access to 4, you have access to 3. That would have made Blitz more in line with Classic Constructed. If it was more in line with Classic Constructed and not the meme format that it is now, then they could have incentivized and popularized it in a tournament setting. If they did that, then they'd have these 3 conditions for cards and their value, right? Living Legend, failure, oh god, I can't say. Sorry, L's and R's always get my tongue. Failure, in my eyes, right? Because its whole idea was this second life for cards. It's not, because again, it's not heavily incentivized, it's not heavily popularized. Blitz, same thing. So, yeah. Unfortunately, all cards rely on Classic Constructed, regardless of what use they see in other formats for pricing. Okay. They're just really cool on hits. Yes, yeah, definitely. In Outsiders. After some time, for an example, Command & Conquer is not played anymore, the price will fall fail to sense. But if Fab ends up becoming huge, people start collecting the old power cards like you. No. I don't think so. In the case of like Tunic, because it's iconic, in the case of Command & Conquer, I don't think there is such an epitome of, you know, Power 9 or these old iconic cards in Flesh and Blood. There will be for some people, but God, the sustain of cards in Flesh and Blood is very, very volatile, right? So you don't have people, again, who grew up with this iconic card, right? We see CNC, but it's not iconic. The effect is iconic. So I don't think CNC will ever have that type of value. If again, it does get power crept. I don't think it will ever be power crept. But yeah, again, it goes back to the whole brand recognition and, you know, how cards are remembered and iconic. And I don't think CNC or Inline Strike or Art of War or Tome or like Tome is a good example. Tome was such a impactful, powerful card, right? That has just dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. Semblance. That's a play. Negate all Phantasm triggered effects on target illusion attack you control. The attack loses and can't gain Phantasm. Cost is too heavy for it, isn't it? I feel like if somehow they make Command & Conquer bad in the future, I don't think any new players will even look back. Yeah, so yeah, I do agree with that, Matthew. It's like right now, no current players. Do you think anyone in Japan cares about Tales of Aria, right? Heck, do you think they even care about Arcane Rising, Welcome to Wraith, or Klloo? The whole idea of, rather than, you know, reprinting the product in that language variant, which they're completely right to do. They could reprint it in its unlimited version with just rainbow foils in Japanese, and that would be completely fine. But they're not going to sit there and care about the product as a whole. They're only going to care about the stable cards. And if the stable cards change, then they're not going to care about them anymore. Alright, last 2 packs, and then half the cake's done. A cornet and stilettos so far. Actually, no, we got 2 gold foils in the last one. That's actually kind of nice. Robe. No gold foil. What is really good is the Oldham's crown. Oh, God. You want me to show it, don't you? I'm sure, you know what, I bet you I could find. Oh, someone's aren't. Oldham. That's fan art. Let's see what we can find. My favorite card. Ooh. It would have to be Final Act, right? So Final Act as a concept is something we're getting in the latest set. And it's the first true combo, I want to say, of Fab. And I love combos, right? So in MTG, back when I played, I would play Storm decks, right? Which are, you know, combo heavy decks. I never really touched Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! But again, I'd lean towards combo with my Newt experience of those cards I do, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very combo-y. So I do have a very big heart for combo. Not that I think combo should be a huge thing in Fab, but I think Final Act was perfect, right? It's achievable, but it's hard to pull off. The Mystic shenanigans are surprisingly a lot easier, so that's a bit unfortunate, right? Because again, all three of them seem to be very combo-y heroes, and if those lines are the main lines they play, it could be interesting, and again, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for the overall game. But yeah, I'd say Final Act as my favorite card. A friend from the LGS got second place. They had decided with the other finalists to sell the gold foil, balance justice before the match, and split the money. Oh, that's nice. See, stuff like that is fantastic on LSS Bar. That's where, again, they sort of get out of the shadow of a lot of TCGs, right? I know other TCGs have prize cards, but again, the gold foil system and all that has always been fantastic to me. And creating wealth out of nothing to reward people who do participate in the community is fantastic. So that should never be undersold. How much do you think they sold the gold foil balance justice for? God, it is a $100 and something card, so I'm gonna say $1,200-ish would be my guess. Because usually gold foils are about 10 times. Although I don't know about the newer ones, because I think they're a lot more common, are they not? Breaking point, nada, no gold foil. 10k, wow, really? Well, if someone wants to pay that, go nuts. On the spot. That's pretty insane. Another rewind. They go the other way. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, right? They made a lot of cards into gold foils, right? So I'm guessing Balance of Justice is still kind of hard to come by. It would just be all the cooling events. But then it's still not set, right? If Balance of Justice is the cooling event. But see, again, that's amazing, right? You get the event, and then technically, there is that prize money that will just help continue to grow. And that's something they could easily inject into Blitz and Living Legend. The only problem with that, right, to whoever bought it, is while Fab can have these ridiculous cards, continuing to move them will always be the nightmare. So this year has art cards are the thing to compare it to, right? Again, Fab wanted them to be this insane chase card, and no one cares, right? I mean, I remember everyone saying how expensive they'd be, and it's just... they wanted them to be expensive, they needed more volume of them to actually have that word of mouth, have that knowledge within the community that these exist, these are obtainable. Having the 20, right, 10 chain, 10 prism, just means that only, those who really want to get them can get them. And yeah, end up, a couple grand each? In Flame, I forgot extended arts were in Uprising. I always love all the secret stuff. I wish they'd do more of it, but it's getting back to concisement, right? Extended arts get kept for all the precon decks, Rainbow Foil heroes get kept for the promos, Cold Foil heroes get kept for more promos, and so forth and so on. So they invented gold packs. I'm curious how much the guy who opened the first Marvel Enigma is going to get. You know what? We just want one more L. I know we already got one in the case, but a Rainbow Foil L. 1 in 4. Are they independent? I can't remember if they're independent. Healing Balm into... It's not what I want. Not what I want. Yeah, and he would be flooded with DMs. Plus, Italy, it's horrible condition. Look at that. Look at that. Just giant ass streak down the middle. Well, not the middle, but the middle here, right? So apparently we just have to mention a Marvel and we get a Marvel. But yeah, that streak is just undesirable. Oh well. So it's a Marvel Icelander. So we got her and her crown. Cold Fall 2. So despite my bitching, this is a sensational case. Right? 1-2 combo. If only this was way back when. If only I opened this when I first bought it. That would be the better way of summing it up. Ugh. Oh well. Leave it there. We might as well look at the price too. Sadly, I don't think she's like the Emperor, right? She's nowhere near as rare. I mean, that's not bad. Yeah, it hasn't fallen as much as you might think. Way back then, at launch, it's probably like a $200 card. I don't know if we can go back that far. But she did really well, play-wise as well, I'm pretty sure. But again, you have this whole detriment of it being young, right? Young not being as desirable. But I'm pretty sure this was the big chase. I think it is at very least rarer than the dragons, if memory serves. And the dragons took a while to sort of pick up, because they've had a decent value to them, but then once Dromai started really getting strong, and everyone wants to bling out their deck. I don't want to put a card over her, so take the tempo and go behind her. We still want one more Rainbow Foil L. But that and the cornet would have been easily enough to pay for the case. And probably make something. Stroke. And no gold foil. Into what do we have? I like Sifts. Sifts should see a lot of boom in with it. Although it seems like they're going down this opt route, where opt is their sort of big keyword. Uprising, even below. And no cold foil. We'll speed through these since there's probably nothing else left in this box and get on to the last one. And with the luck we're having, there's got to be a Rainbow Foil Legendary as well, right? I think that's in the middle, is it not? Rather than replacing the token. So, cold foil. The big thing that sells it too, for the Icelander, is the fact that it's alt art, right? Is it the actual... Sorry, I need to check now. Is it the same effect? No, I just saw we had one. Where were you? I believe it is, right? Essence of Ice. Not your turn. Yeah, so it's the same effect, but it is actually alt art. And it's significantly better art. It's almost, in all honesty, it's almost like the adult art. So it's kind of weird that it's still a young hero. These are cards we just went through? No. But I already took the foil out, I think. God, no, I didn't. There's the foil, no M. Renegade into nothing. Triples, no cold foil. I don't think we got a cold foil in this box yet either. Hypothermia, God, we should count them after, but the number of ice cards we're hitting, as to oppose Dromai and Face Staples, is kind of insane. Never mind, look at that. Into a foil. Freezing point. And some more ice shenanigans. Alright, strategic planning. Frostbite token. More ice. And no cold foil. Oh, I've got to check for an M. It's not. 3 for this box. And then we can hope for an L again. Other burst. No cold foil. I just gotta do this. Yeah. What did I miss? I mean, one of these days a rematch of the roll-off. Product of the new sets. Good, what card do you want to open? So, I am buying products. I think I've settled on 8 cases. So, 4 for me and my partner to open, right? And then 4 for streaming. I want to open the 12-petal... I can't say it. It is, again, I should probably explain this, right? Because you'll hear it a ton. I do have speech problems, right? I can't, my tongue has limited movement, right? I can't roll it, so I can't do R's and L's or some F sounds, right? So I can't say, yeah, here's a freebie for you all, right? I can't say broccoli. Because my tongue can't shift from the R sound to the L sound. Now, I'm not being racist, I'm not putting on an accent, I literally cannot say broccoli. And if you're not understanding what I'm trying to say the vegetable. But yes, I want to open that, because that for Zen just seems utterly broken. Alright, so no cold foil, but we did get the Marvel, so technically that is the cold foil. That's fine. There's still one more chance for the Shuko. The funny thing is too, with the KO roller, is that is not the first time I've high rolled him. I remember doing shenanigans against Riddleman, and same thing as well. I just got insanely lucky with my rolls. Tails, see, okay, so Tails being the next set is kind of curious. Because they said Arcane was in the works, not Arcane was coming next, right? So, yeah, it'd be 50-50 to me if it is Tails or Arcane. But if not, I would hope to see Tails by the end of, or by the start of next year, right? One of the first sets. If we don't see Tails, then I'm gonna have to kind of say they don't want Elemental to ever come back, which is a huge blow. Because it's a third of Uprising gone, all the Tails gone, a bit of Everfest, right? All these sets take hits. Oh wait, haha, I misread that. Yes, this is the next Tails. I do not see them retouching Draconic. Dromai's a little bit different, because Dromai's, you know, their golden child. Illusionist is their golden child, or James's golden child, right? I'm pretty sure that's cut and dry. No one would argue with that. So I could see them retouching on Dromai. I think the Ash in the expansion slot was just an accident, right? They didn't expect Dromai to have LL'd by now, but she did. But, you know, the development cycle for any one class talent or anything is usually about 2 years, for reference, right? So if you look at all the sets and when things have touched upon, it is at minimum 2 years. It is at maximum 50-something months, right? Which is insane to think about. So I do not see it coming back in a timely manner, unless he wants Dromai. James Golden Child is Wizard, to be honest. What do you think of traits? I think they're cool, but they've been way too strong. Yeah. So James likes to play Kanos, is what you're saying. Seems like he has a big hankering for Prism, though. And again, going back to that whole development cycle, right? Can you guess which hero had the shortest development cycle? Flash is one of the only few to actually have a reprint for its LL. Alright, we want Shuko. Traits are an interesting concept. Considering that they have not been successful in the purview of again, comparative strength, I would say I dislike traits. I think I'd much rather them just stick to class combo cards or overlapping class cards. But, I mean, at the same time, I'm going to love Mystic, because Mystic is blue, and blue is basically all I do most of the time. Rolling Slippers. It's time to say goodnight to the Icelander. So, that's a cold foil, but we can still hope for a legendary rainbow foil. I don't know, right? Let's go down a different route of thinking. The statue they commissioned, right, was Prism. I would, in all honesty, think that Stravo is the epitome of living legend, right? He is by far, or was, the strongest hero. And, you know, again, at the first major event, it was all Stravos competing for a Prism trophy. A prize is not generating value, in some senses. But yes, Prism, Dromai, is very clear that, you know, or new now, there is that angle that they really want. Yeah. See, so Stravo will be memorable. And I think it would have been a lot more iconic if he was the big statue for the first Living Legend. The first Living Legend trophy-esque was a Stravo, the epitome of the format. But I can't remember, were they advertising that the studio could fabricate more for sale, or was it just a one-off? They just got commissioned because they wanted to show New Zealand some love, and then they wanted it to do something with it, right? As a giveaway. More ice cards. Perfect. Exactly what we want. Yeah, I don't know yet. I would just, in all honesty. Again, the number of illusionists we get, and their speed of which they're produced, considering how out of the norm they are, right? Again, if you think developing a new physical class, not that hard. Developing a class that requires board states, that requires, you know, all this extra thought and interaction, compared to developing, you know, Betsy, developing Victor, developing Olympia. I would heavily argue that the mental thought that needs to go into Illusionist is more, yet we're getting them back to back to back, almost. Again, in by far the shortest time frame of any class development. Brody's card was a generic, no? And that was a fun concept. So we got First Dragon, double-sided. This is a normal one, though. I don't think they hold value like the Pigments, or will hold value like the Pigments. We'll see. It could just be a new trio of 3 female wizards then, for the Arc set. But, oh, god damn it. Why'd you have to mention wizard? I wanted Tiger Stripe. So, okay, for reference, this case has had a cold foil in every box, a Marvel, a cold foil legendary, and a legendary rainbow foil. So this is probably one of the best Uprising cases you could possibly ask for, but I don't want any of the cards. Yeah, this could definitely be fantastic for the next set. Oh well. Yeah, for anyone, I'm pretty sure it's had 4 cold foils, right? Crawling Slippers, Icelander, the Peak. Then we also got Stilettos. Might have only been 3 in Silken form. Yeah, okay. So legendary. 3 cold foils. Plus then a cold foil legendary. Unfortunately ice. And then a Marvel Icelander with a good old gash down the side. If I can get in the light. We see it. Oh, somewhere here. There we are. Can you sort of see the line? There we go, the streak. Right over there. It goes top to bottom. Hey, Dromeda. You love a good wizard. I'm starting to get down the rabbit hole of wizard. So the question is, do they make good weapons because of it, or do they not make good weapons because of it? That all you got against then could actually be kind of interesting. Although, no, yeah, that all you got against then is definitely going to be interesting. What have I missed? Illusion's technically a wizard, yes, technically. In the sense that, again, both of them play outside the norm. What do you think of Blaze? I'd love to play a wizard that isn't Kano. God. Blaze, I think, yeah, is fantastic design versus Kano, right? Because it's the same sort of concepts, but with a proper imposed restriction. Plus, then, yeah, the ability to not just run wizard non-attack or non-attack actions in general, so that you can just spam Kano every single turn. I think it's the one-dimensionality of Kano that sort of puts me off him. It's just spam your ability, spam your ability, spam your ability. At least this would be take normal lines, start building up your ability, and then have that big payoff moment. I mean, we could get lucky. There could be 2 legendaries in this box, but unfortunately, I'm guessing there's no Tiger Stripe for us. Wait, oh, I could trade the Icelander marbles into one, I suppose, into the Rainbow Foil, I think, is the conversion rate at the moment. People who want to solve map problems will be disappointed if they release a dumbed-down wizard. I'm actually hoping it's just a wizard set. I know people want Runeblade. They sort of forget that Runeblade still has a very sizable card pool, thanks to the talented sets that have featured him. So I would personally really like to just see a straight wizard set, because I think there's lots of room for them to develop the class and its motifs and design aspects and different playstyles. I also find it funny, if you didn't know, Assassin is almost still the lowest card pool out of every class. So thanks to Mistveil, they have overtaken Wizard, but I think there's still like a 10 or 15 card difference between the two. Yes, I know I should be happy. Right? No, I should be happy. But we came in this looking for a single goddamn card. And we get all this junk. Whatever. Do you think Klloo will find a place in the competitive meta? No. Klloo is very just dependent on what everyone else runs. And that probably makes it too weak, too slow, too inconsistent. The nice thing is, though, you can sort of just take her as this punishment, right? Where she does contract, she does stealth a lot better than either two heroes, despite, their own benefits and buffs to stealth and contract. Onuzari's stealth is basically just ninja, and then Arachne contract is just a way to hit more often, but then you get silver for hitting more often, and is that actually that beneficial? So, no. So I think Klloo is kind of just better, either of them, right? You have access to go against, you have access to string stuff together. Her initial concept, I don't know if she will see that form of play, right? Again, trying to hit all these blues, banish them, and then play them. I think Gorgon's Gaze and just running a normal contract sort of build, where you're just trying to fatigue your opponent, mill their deck, mill their hand, is strong enough. I think she's probably the weakest out of the three. But yeah, I think her natural ability is just too inconsistent. As fun as it is. I kind of wish it was almost you may play any banished card, but you did have to pay their cost, rather than you may play any blue card. Plus then you also have the benefit of disabling blues to some extent, right? You can't take powerful blues, you can only take weak pitchable blues in her matchups. Fear of, them being used against you. Alright, apparently I dropped a pack before, so there's one left. Oh, legendary? Another legendary? The dragons do look sick. Dun 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 dun. Foil. Nah. Oh, foil. See? I just call these things. So, yeah, that means we did get all 4 cold foils. We got 2 marvels, we got 2 legendaries. We hit everything you could possibly hit in this box, in this case. And none of it is anything I really want. Wonderful. Oh well, beggars can't be choosers. Oh yeah, I can sell them. I can choose whatever I want. But yeah, that's got to be one of the best Uprising cases, right? Double Marvel into 4 cold foils, right? So all the normal box cold foil rate into a Cornet for a legendary cold foil, into the Constellus for Rainbow Legendary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And still on rate for Majestics, right? Roughly 24. So 6 a box.